So it's a tool that you can grow with from the very beginning to high top level. So what we got is I call this a naked squeegee because it's a squeegee with no bits attached to it. So as a normal handle squeegee, we've got it in a stiff, and we can easily do a job. Let's imagine this is a pane of glass, and we can just work as normal and get the job done, you know, effortlessly. Right, so why don't I like having a swivel handle or pivoting tool in my hand, but I do like on a pole? Well, what I find is when it's all about control for me. So if I'm working with high control, I'm working overall very quick. The benefit of having a rigid squeegee in the hand is no matter where you put your squeegee angle, okay, the pressure generally is here, but the actual pressure is distributed on the channel much more evenly. So no matter where I go, there's evenly displaced pressure on the channel. When I press the button and I now got a swivel, I've got evenly distributed pressure, but as soon as I do this, all my pressure is around here and down here, but I lose all the pressure up here. So this was a difficult window to work on. I'm going to have less chance of getting a perfect job done all the time. I'm looking for perfection in all my work, and that's another reason why I ditched all the other tools. It never offered me perfection, whereas these two combined tools, the Liquidator and Accelerator, offers you the choice of being perfect if you choose that way of working. So yeah, so you lose the ability to control the pressure. If you lose the control of the pressure with the effect that what a swivel or pivoting tool gives you, you turn so much quicker with a pivoting tool than you do with a fixed handle. So one switch of the button, because the pivot is situated where it is the fastest squeegee that, you know, on the market. And what do I mean by fastest? So when it turns very quickly, and because the way the pivot is being situated, quite often the channel is vertical. So if it's vertical, I've got more coverage. I'm travelling faster on the turns, and I've got more vertical stance. So if you've got a pivot, not a pivoting, what we've got less of a angle that's straight and more of this kind of angle, because it's turning much slower. But what I've got is the control. So I'm turning slower, and I've got the pressure distributed better, more evenly. So for me, I will always work quicker with a slower tool. If you're looking for speed, my advice would be use the tool in a fixed hand, do the edges, press the button, and then really work quickly, fill in the middle. If this was turned this way, you know, I could demonstrate it more, but I'm not going to mess about with changing the position of the window of the mirror at the moment. But you know, if you have it in a fixed first and then press the button and then you're swiveling, getting it done much quicker. But overall, I will still work quicker with a fixed handle. So fixed handle always offers you or the user stability, and the pressure is much evenly distributed. Also, when I'm working, let's use my left hand, I use, when I'm doing my fanning movement, from my shoulder to my elbow to my hand and wrist, everything is moving like this. So if I'm using more than one joint moving at all, I'm sharing the burden of the work. When you press the button and or with any pivoting tool, you more rely on your wrist action. So you do move your arm, you know, you do move it, but you're relying more on this movement. Because it's a smaller joint, you're putting a lot more work, emphasis on your wrist. So I don't use, as a rule, a swivelling handle for my handwork, because I don't get the control, it's too fast, I don't get the pressure distribution, and I'm using more than one joint. Well, I'm relying more on one joint wrist action. You know, the tools, there's tools out there that's been developed especially to alleviate work on your wrist, but like it or not, a swivel action handle will make your wrist work harder than overall your whole arm movement working. So that is why I don't like really to use a swiveling handle. I've outlined the reasons why. And many people you'll see on YouTube, they use fixed handles in the hand, and in pole work they use pivoting handles. And subconsciously they know that. They know, I've just explained it in words, but subconsciously they know that. So people would agree with me. Right, so with a pole, let's talk about pole work for a second. I've got a small pole here. Okay, so why, for example, do I use a pole with a swiveling handle? The reason why I do that is because this is now my wrist and this is my stiff arm. As a rule, we don't clean windows like this. We clean windows more like this. But I'm restricted because my tool is stiff. It's got no joints in it, apart from the angle arm here, but we're not going to talk about that for now. So what I need is freedom of movement somewhere on the tool, and the closer it is to the channel, the more precision and accuracy you have. So to clean a pane of glass on a pole, let's put it in a 10, we control it just by steering. We just turn at the bottom, and a lot of people find it when they first start using this tool, it's very sensitive. So what they do is they turn too much, and then what they find is they're re-wetting the dry area that they just cleaned. So as a rule, you just do small turns and you get a big action on the channel. So we've got the precision of the channel, making the work overall quality and quick, so we don't have any rag work involved, and we've got the precision and control with the movement on the pivoting action. You can, if you want, use it as a stiff tool, but what happens is, let's press this button here. There we go. This is a sole pole tool, so I hardly ever press the button on this, and it's very stiff. It's like a brand new handle when it comes to being stiff. It's always on a pole, it's never in the hand. So when you got it in a, imagine cleaning the windows now with your hand and you can't move anything. All you can move is your body. So I'm moving, it's very hard to clean the window. I'm moving my body because nothing is moving. My wrist, my arm, everything's stiff. This pole's stiff, so all I can really do is do straight pull movements. I can just about have a little bit of a angle to do some squeegeeing, fan movement, but overall, because you're so restricted, you do the straight pulls. Some people like that. It's a slower way of working. I've got videos that I will release later on showing me do a job using straight pulls versus all different kinds of, like maybe thin windows. It's more thinner windows than large wide windows, and because I've got the skill and the ability, my time is much quicker even on thin windows, having a pivoting action movement, fanning movement, than a straight pull. So with this tool you've got the ability to have the ability to fan and move around the glass, make a mistake and go back over. Okay, you're making more movement, but overall you're getting the job done with better quality, and with your precision. Once you get good at it, you'll far become a quicker window cleaner with the ability to be able to move. So the angles with a straight pole, very restricted. You can only move it a little bit, so you can only go with the straight pulls. So out there are all these different tools, pole tools. You can have the well, with traditional, you've got the washer. Put the washer on first, and then take it off. Put the normal squeegee on, and start pulling. You have to change the tools over. So that's a time waste. We've got the ability here of having a combination wash and wipe. But there's other tools out there that are wash and wipe, but they're combination tools. This is a multifunctional tool. So that's my guide of basically how I work. With a stiff handle, I've got the ability to move around a bit slower than a pivoting handle, but with pole work it's always a pivoting action. But you know, even if you want to still stick with your straight pulls, you can still make pull downs much more effective and efficient with having a pivoting manoeuvrable pivot. You can still do your straight pulls if that's how you want to work.